All right, welcome back to MilSpouse Mondays. Sonia and I have been at it several times today, and we've got another great guest here with us. We got Cynthia, and I'm going to see if I can get these titles correct. Director of Scholarships and Philanthropy for the Council for Military Spouse Clubs. She's also a volunteer lead for MilSpouse Professional Network. She is an Army military spouse. And if you go on and you connect with her on LinkedIn, which you should, by the way, and just take a look at the breadth of experience that's sitting there, it is a tremendous amount of experience that she can share with us. So Cynthia, we just wanted to bring you on here. I'll let Sonia kick this thing off, but thanks for sharing your time with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for taking the time today to meet with us and to share your journey. So the first question that I ask our military spouses is to introduce yourselves, right? And to tell us a little bit about you, your military journey, you're a military spouse, and how it's affected your life or impacted your life, right? And I mean, you are where you are right now because of the choices that we have made, right? So I'll leave the floor to you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Cynthia Giesecke, currently stationed near Washington, D.C. I've been a military spouse now for going on 23 years. Wow. My husband's active duty Army. Yes, we're on the, seasoned side of the house. And I have a 20-year-old daughter, soon to be 21. So that's been a new transition for myself, being a mother of an adult child. So yeah, my journey started in 2001 in El Paso, Texas, where I was born and raised. So was my husband. And that was where my daughter was born. So we're all from El Paso and claim El Paso as our hometown. And just like any other spouse, I've had a diverse set of jobs all over the globe, and but my passion has been volunteering. A lot of my stuff on my LinkedIn comes from volunteering. I'm a huge advocate for military spouses to put volunteer on their resume and get those skills on there because just the only difference, right, is that we're unpaid when we do volunteer positions. Lately, I've been with Hiring Our Heroes, first as a member and then moved into a co-lead position in Hawaii. And I'm now the lead here in the National Capital Region. And then I also volunteer for the Military Spouses Council as the Director of Philanthropy and Scholarship, which is another passion of mine. I've been doing scholarships since I left college. I was one of the founders for our Latino Alumni Association. I joined the Student Alumni Association there and founded the first scholarship for Latino students at Indiana University. So it's been a passion of mine. I've done it with spouses clubs, and then I've done it with my alma mater as well.
I love it. You have touched so many subjects that I'm so passionate about. One, I'm an immigrant. I was born and raised in Colombia. So I'm very passionate about, offering those resources, highlighting our Latino community as well, and the volunteer work, how important it is. I also am a fan of volunteering. I think it's so important. And I also think the same way that it's exactly how you phrased it. The only difference is that we're not getting paid when we're volunteering, but it's such an amazing work that you do and a lot of skill sets that you earn whenever you volunteer with amazing organizations that are out there. And Hiring Our Heroes, the MSN program, is so important, and it teaches you so much, right? And you give so much to the community, the military spouse community. So it's really important, and I love it. Thank you so much for sharing with us. One of the questions that I wanted to ask you was, being a military spouse for so many years, what advice would you give our military spouses that are just becoming military spouses, right? Whose husbands just joined, or the ones that are halfway through their journey? What advice would you give them to grow professionally, personally, and how to network, the power of network, right?
Right, gosh. I mean, I can take this in so many directions. I would say the first thing is for them to just jump right in, with both feet. I think one of the hardest things, and I mean, I struggled with it, is just embracing the military spouse lifestyle. I think it's okay, to go through all the emotions from resentment, grief to, happiness to anger. That's just the journey itself. I think one of the hardest part is really finding your way in the lifestyle. I think once you find it, you blossom in it. The first thing I would say for a spouse is to just get involved in the community, whether that's through a spouses club, through a social club within, outside of the gates. From their Military Spouse Professional Network is another great place. I think first, really looking at, what is it that you want to gain from this lifestyle? Many spouses go through it being a stay-at-home parent and homeschooling their children and then re-entering the workforce, after so many years of giving themselves to their families. We have other spouses that enter this already in a career, and just don't have the space or the time to really get into the military lifestyle and choose to, go with their careers. There's so many diverse ways of handling this lifestyle that I don't think any way is right or wrong. I think it's all personality. It's what you and your spouse can handle. And then once you bring in children, and family into it, it all looks different. I don't think there is any correct way that this life should look like. We've seen many spouses now go through geo-batch where the spouse goes on with their career and the family stays behind what they consider their hometown, right? A place where they want to set roots. So there's just so many things, but I think the one major difference is if you don't get involved, whether that's in any military organization or in a community organization, you really won't see the value in that place that you're in, whether that's a junior league or Girl Scouts of America or the Rotary Club, or getting involved with your city council, whatever that is. I think that you need to get connected in some way so that you can meet other people that are in your space and then also grow personally and professionally with those organizations. So just get involved, get in there.
You got the Council for Military Spouse Clubs. What is it? What does it do? And why should somebody look into it?
So it's a brand new organization. When the founders found the organization, it was very small, just the founders, but then decided to bring in a whole entire board with them. This organization started really from the two founders that were lawyers. They were military spouses, and they were seeing that they were doing a lot of pro bono work with military spouses clubs, trying to really engage with them, help them out with whether that was with their nonprofit status or figuring out their thrift shops. So it really became a passion of the founders, and they brought in other military spouses with specific subject matter experts in areas of Military Spouses Club. So we have chiefs and then we have directors that fall under the different components that make up a spouses club. They're really there as an organization to help military spouses clubs thrive where they're located. And so we're here as a resource. It is free right now for spouses clubs to join. And then there are individual memberships for those spouses that are really ingrained in the spouses club arena, and just there as a resource, similar to what Hiring Our Heroes does for military spouses looking for employment. We're there for military spouses who are just engaged and part of their spouses club executive boards. I
like those organizations that tend to take the collective pain points that are happening all over the place and then give everybody a place where they don't have to go through the same mistakes as everybody else did. And so you can come to an organization like this and really stand up something that is formidable and maybe have some of the answers to the questions that you have that have already been answered by several other organizations. So this is pretty cool. I don't know that I heard about this before. Yeah,
it's very, very new. And really, just like you said, it's a place for Military Spouses Club board members to engage, learn from each other. As you mentioned, lessons learned, and it really gives other clubs to, if they see themselves in a situation where they do need advice, they don't need to pay for it, they don't need to go look for it. We're here as a resource, and we're here to just help them thrive. And I've seen situations in clubs that I've been involved in where, thrift shops are in the negative or taxes are due. And a lot of times you don't have the resources, right? The financial resources to pay for a lawyer. And this organization was founded for that reason, so that we're here to help military spouses clubs.
I love it. Such wonderful feedback, right? And insights, and especially those military spouses club, because I was part of the military spouses club. So we know how important it is to have those kinds of resources, right? That guidance, I think it's really important, because sometimes we join these clubs and we really don't know what we're getting ourselves into. And there's a lot of spouses out there, right, that they don't know who to turn to ask those kinds of questions, especially in those kinds of positions. So thank you so much. And thank you for, what a wonderful program. How is the process of getting involved or applying to be a part of your group?
So they can just go to our website, and once they go in there, they can, go through, figure out how their club can get involved. We highly encourage, all military spouses club we have from all branches, global. Right now we have spouses clubs in Japan, Korea, Germany, and then all throughout CONAs throughout the United States that have joined us. And as I mentioned, it's free right now for the clubs. We've been trying to engage a lot of the clubs through, just who we know, who we're connected with, look at our network, and really reach out to those clubs. But if anyone here who's involved in military spouses clubs and listens to this, just go to our website and connect with us, and then we'll reach out and give you, all the information on how to get involved and then how to get into our space, so that you can also, we really enjoy having members, because we're not the only ones with the experience, right? Our members bring a whole lot of experience with them, and then they can connect with each other and learn from each other. And that's really the type of space that we're trying to create, is a place where spouses clubs can come in and really engage and learn from each other, grow and thrive, because we do see that a lot of communities are hurting for volunteers, and a lot of spouses clubs have really great ideas on how to engage their community. And so that's really what we're here for.
Amazing. Thank you.
So you also are a volunteer lead with Hiring Our Heroes. We'd be remiss not to plug that. Again, Sonia and I have worked with them in the past, but tell us a little bit about the Spouse Professional Network and why that is something that you advocate for and put time towards.
So I became a member of the Military Spouse Professional Network, really not even looking for employment. For me, it became a space to just stay within the employment space. It gave me an opportunity to engage with spouses that were career-minded, who had careers, and then who could really build up my network. And really, I came in there with, hey, I got to build up my network. I don't need it now, but this is a great opportunity for me to start one, grow it, and continue that relationship with my network, because I knew that at some point I was going to need it. I didn't need it then, but I knew I had a plan. I knew when I was going to re-enter the workforce. Unfortunately, my plan got delayed a little. I ended up homeschooling my daughter for 4 years, and then I became a caregiver to my mother, who was diagnosed with cancer. So I had to put everything on hold, but I still was able to keep in touch with my network and to let them know, hey, this is where I'm at, this is where we're going, and this is where I'm looking at re-entering employment space. So I always encourage military spouses, whatever season that they're in, to come and join the Military Spouse Professional Network. A lot of spouses feel that they need to already be employed, they have to have a career, they have to have these successes and accolades and titles to be a part of the Military Spouse Professional Network, but that's the myth. We truly want military spouses to engage at any season of their lives, of their careers, of their pauses, because you want to start building that network immediately and really be able to reach out to that network when you do need it. And so we encourage all military spouses of any branch, any season, to come and join us. And I just became an advocate because of my own experience and my own story, where I was very career-minded. Then I decided to take a break and take care of my family, and realized that even when I did go to these events, I had things to contribute because I had prior experience, right? And then I also had experience in those moments of making those difficult decisions of saying, hey, I maybe do need to step away from my career and take care of family. I've recently had conversations with so many spouses that were like, I really want to hang out with my family, be there. My child is becoming a senior, and they were really just struggling with making, that decision of, okay, I need to put my career on a pause. And sharing my story with them, they were like, oh, I can do this too. Like, yeah. I can take a break and take care and be there for my family. And I think that in itself has been a huge blessing for me, because we are the worst with each other, right? Instead of lifting each other up, oftentimes we find ourselves telling spouses that they need to work to feel fulfilled and valued. But there are times where even having that break and being with your family, there's so much fulfillment and blessing in there. And I think it's important that these stories are shared, that spouses can take a break and it's okay, and that their careers are going to be okay. Because if it means that you spend some time with your child before they transition from their senior year in high school to college, then you're going to come out of there a much better person and ready, to take on that career in a much better mental space. And so I think that these are conversations that we can have, even within the Military Spouse Professional Network, because a lot of times people think, oh, I can't go there because I don't have a title, I don't have a job, and I have nothing to contribute. But the reality is that we can all contribute to each other and really help each other out in whatever season that we are in.
Wow. I must say, you really impacted me at this point, right? I am one of those that are, I've always been very career oriented, and I always thought that having my career was really important. And I felt, I don't know, like not myself, right? I felt like I was not contributing whenever I stayed home. I really did not enjoy as much as I should have enjoyed the time with my family when the time was of me staying home, because I was just being hard on myself. And it's so true. I did volunteer in a lot of great organizations, and that's how I stayed busy, right? And I was able to really fulfill or fill the gap or the hole in me. But it's so true. Like, just having a job, it's not really, doesn't define you. Having that career doesn't define you. Having those gaps, that mental break is so important. And that really helps me right now, in my view, as well as a military spouse, in my journey, because I'm still on my journey, right? I'm a military spouse journey. And who knows, maybe in the future, I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, I need a break. I need a break from my career. I need a break and stay home. There's so many different kinds of transitions that we go through. And it's really important to take that into consideration too, that it's okay. It's okay. The career is going to come back. It's going to be there. It's okay to take that mental break as well.
What I like about what Cynthia said is she instituted this break, maybe not even planned. Obviously, we don't plan for our mothers to go through a situation like that. I lost my mother to cancer, and I left a situation to come home and take care of her. And what I feel is like a career killing decision. Like, I left a situation where I was on an upward trajectory and come back to take care of her. But we don't regret those moments, do we? But there's this thing called balance. And I think you touched on this. You mentioned, like, I don't have to be in this network. I don't have to be in this club. I don't need to be in this community. I don't need to do this because I need something now. I can be doing this just to stay connected to the information, to create maybe some advocacy for me when I do need the help to come back into the workforce. So I love that aspect that, hey, it's cool to go handle business and to take care of your family. That's priority number one, whether you're working or not. But you reference this balance, and it doesn't sound like it was overwhelming to create a little bit of that balance either. So I would encourage folks that if you need a break and you have the ability to do so, I don't think you're going to regret it at all. But I do think that there's a component to balance. I think you need to maintain some sort of semblance of presence in the areas that you're interested in, which could benefit you and your family anyway by just staying a little bit connected for that next chapter. Sonia, you got any other questions for Cynthia?
I do not. Just thank you so much for your insight. I mean, we have so much to learn from you, your experience, your journey. I appreciate so much your time here today.
You're welcome. And thank you both for having me and being able to share my story and encourage other spouses too, that, taking a break, getting your mental health in order is so important, not only for yourself, but for your family and ultimately, for your career, that in the end, you'll come out a stronger person and be able to give of yourself to a whole lot of people and make an impact and inspire others.
If you haven't connected with Cynthia yet, do so. If you've thought about starting a spouse club, or if you're in a spouse club and you're struggling, really check them out, the Council for Military Spouse Clubs. And we'll drop all the links down below. Cynthia, wish you the best. Thanks for coming on here. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.